Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy RJ Game News USA here, back today with another video. And today I want to count down my top 10 movie trilogies of all time. Now, before we get into it, let me explain the rules here of the trilogy list. They don't necessarily have to be movies 1, 2, and 3. They need to be 3 movies together in a franchise, or the 3 movies kind of have a through line where you could start movie 1 and you watch through movie 2, movie 3 of said trilogy, where you could wrap it up in its own little bow, regardless of any movies that came before or after, if that makes sense. So, for example, a series like Nightmare on Elm Street actually doesn't make the trilogy list because it doesn't really have much of a definitive ending after 3 before you get a 4th and a 5th movie that really expand beyond just a trilogy. Also, all 3 movies in said trilogy need to be great. Not just, oh, well, this movie sucked, or this part of the trilogy really dipped. Yes, some parts of the trilogy will be better than others, but for general purposes, it has to be 3 really great movies together that make sense together. Regardless if more stuff comes after or before, if that makes sense. So, with that being said, I made a list that I feel pretty comfortable with revealing. It may not be your list, but you can always leave your thoughts in the comments below what your favorite trilogies are. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And share the video out there. But without further ado, let me go on with my list. Number 10 is the Spider-Man trilogy. And I'm talking about the Tobey Maguire movies. Now, some of you really like the Tom Holland movies, and I'm actually really excited to see the newest Spider-Man movie as well. That's about to come out in theaters next month. But for me, my Spider-Man in live action were the Tobey Maguire movies. And Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3 were very excellent films that I believe stand the test of time. I think Tobey Maguire is a great Spider-Man. I think Tom Holland obviously could make his case and argue that. But for me, that was my generation of Spider-Man growing up. And I really enjoyed those movies. Number 9, Saw. Now, I truly believe the Saw movies should have ended after 3. Jigsaw was heavily involved in those first 3 movies. They are clearly the best 3 Saw movies. Clearly, there's a through line there where you could have ended it after 3, and it would have been just fine. It's a great trilogy of movies. I would always suggest to people that want to get into the Saw franchise, I always tell them, just watch the first 3 Saw movies. Especially, Saw 1 really kicked it off great, and Saw 2 and 3 kept up the momentum. They were great movies. I really believe the franchise was starting to dip from 4 on, if you ask me. It was starting to get tiring. So I particularly would recommend those first 3 Saw movies. Number 8 on the list, Rush Hour. Now, I'll be the first to admit, Rush Hour 3 is a dip in quality compared to 1 and 2. If 3 was as good as 1 and 2, this would be higher on the list. But overall, has a complete trilogy of Rush Hour movies. This is a really good trilogy of action comedy with Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker that I highly recommend you all check out. And then that brings me to number 7 on the list, a very similar idea behind number 8 on the list. But number 7 on the list is Harold and Kumar. Again, the third movie, not as great as the first 2. But this movie trilogy is absolutely freaking hilarious. It's wild from start to finish. And I find it to be very enjoyable. So that earns the 7th spot. It's about two guys, in the first movie, it's about two guys wanting to get some White Castle burgers, and they get high and they go on an adventure. Movie 2 more involves some other kind of crazy hijinks involving Guantanamo Bay and the U.S. government and shit. And movie 3 really involves like trying to save Christmas. And that movie was in 3D, and that 3D was not great. But the movie itself was funny, and I did laugh a lot. Number 6 on the list, Child's Play. Child's Play was always super scary to me when I was really young. Okay? Really little. When Child's Play 1 and 2 came out. And then I really enjoyed even what they did with the third movie, where Chucky came back whenever the boy grew up and was a teenager and he was in like a military school and he came back. I really enjoyed the third movie. The third movie did not dip at all. Like, Child's Play 1 and 2 are great, and the third movie didn't dip in quality at all to me. And it had a definitive, awesome ending that truly you could have ended Child's Play there, and I would have been happy. It made a lot of sense. I mean, he really destroyed him, to be completely honest. Spoiler alert. He really destroys him at the end of 3. Speaking of destroying someone at the end of the third movie of a trilogy, how about Halloween? Now, no, I'm not talking about movie 1, 2, and 3, because 1 and 2 are some of my favorite movies of all time for Halloween. But the third Halloween movie is actually nothing to do with Michael Myers, so it's not that. And it's not the Thorn trilogy, which is Halloween 4, 5, and Resurrection, because although I like that trilogy, it's not better than what we got with the modern Halloween trilogy, which was Halloween in 2018, Halloween Kills, and then Halloween Ends, which I know was controversial for some people, especially how they, very similarly to Chucky, decided to kill off Michael Myers. Really put him through a shredder. I actually enjoyed the trilogy, including the third movie, which a lot of people did shit on. But again, this is my list, and I love the Halloween franchise. It's my all-time favorite horror movie franchise. And has a trilogy of movies to bring this back in the modern era. It was great. I enjoyed this Halloween trilogy a lot. And I'm really curious to see if we'll ever get more Halloween movies anytime soon, because I'm just itching for more already. Obviously, it would be a different setup than this and be done differently. But I was a fan of bringing Jamie Lee Curtis back and doing everything they did in the modern Halloween trilogy. So that's one of my more controversial picks. Now, how about this? Number 4 on the list, Deadpool. I know, that's crazy. I have Deadpool this high. You know, I'm leaving trilogies off the list that you would be surprised I'm leaving off the list. But Deadpool's is high because Deadpool 1 made me laugh my ass off. Deadpool 2 laughed my ass off. And Deadpool and Wolverine laughed my ass off. Every time this movie delivered. In an era where comedies have been dead, this Deadpool trilogy stands out in this last decade as being a beacon of light for comedies and movies again. Although it is an action comedy, although it is a superhero movie, believe me, this is a comedy movie first. And it's the funniest things that we've seen this last decade in the theaters. It's holding up the line for comedy movies. And for that, I appreciate that. And I'm very high on the Deadpool trilogy. Number 3, this is very relevant to this week, Toy Story. Now, Toy Story 1 and 2 and 3, it's definitely one of the best trilogies of all time. Not just in my opinion. Look at the Rotten Tomatoes score. 100%, 100%, 98%. That's no joke. Like, the first Toy Story it's a timeless classic of a movie as a kid. And the second Toy Story delivered such a great sequel with no complaints I had. And then the third one comes back when you're older. It's very Child's Play in this, like, where you come back a little older, you know how good the first two movies were, and the third one has a definitive, awesome ending. And it's the perfect trilogy in a lot of ways. For an animated movie, it is the perfect trilogy. For a kid's animated movie, it's the perfect trilogy. Now, I understand money talks, and they came back with Toy Story 4. And I gotta be honest, did not love that movie. And then now they've come back with Toy Story 5. It's not really for me. Not my generation. If I had kids, it would be for them. I do not. So, it's past my time, we'll say. But Toy Story 1, 2, and 3 will always be special to me, and I could go back and watch those movies anytime, and it drums up lots of emotions. Number 2 on this list, Star Wars. But which trilogy is it, you ask? Is it the prequels? Nah. Is it the Disney trilogy? No way. I'm talking about Star Wars 4, 5, and 6, of course. One of the most perfect trilogies ever, period. A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Leia, Darth Vader. You know it, you love it. It's fucking Star Wars. Like, what else can I say? Of course. It literally is the poster child for trilogies. But there is one trilogy that is beyond perfect, has a trilogy, that just truly deserves to be number one. And that's Back to the Future. Back to the Future is freaking awesome. The first movie is so good. It's so good. And the second one is my favorite of the trilogy because it has time travel in the future and the past, and you're actually getting involved in scenes that happened in the first movie, but from a different perspective in the second movie. So good. So good. And the third movie, being in the Wild West, getting a definitive ending. And this movie gets a definitive ending at the end of the trilogy that's a feel-good ending. Right? Marty McFly is a super lovable character. The Professor is a super lovable character. The Biff character is funny to clown on. Everything about this trilogy screams perfect. I love the Back to the Future movies, and it is my favorite trilogy ever. So what do you guys think? Let me know. But for now, this is your boy RJ signing out. Have a good one.